Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Smith Miller, and welcome back. What I have for you today are 3 ideas. I'm concerned I'm going to be going down all 3 rabbit trails, but I'd like to go down one and see where that rabbit trail leads me. And the 3 ideologies or the 3 ideas are, again, there's a difference between standing for something and standing against something. I've been a fervently. I'm gonna go with fervently. I've been a fervent. Let's look that up right now. Fervent. Define. Having or showing great emotion or zeal. Yes, I have been a fervent opposer of the SJW ideology. Not to say that there are things in society that need to be changed. I am simply against the SJWs who claim victim status and who are for those who are, again, race, creed, color, nationality, and sex going above competence, character, and contribution. Yeah. The alt-right does it, the left does it. I don't like it. And standing for something is a bit different. I wanted to be for personal development, personal achievement, personal attainment, personal growth and development. But the sake of developing yourself in one direction is not enough. Personal development for the sake of personal development isn't good, necessarily. Just because you go in one direction doesn't mean that it is where you want to go. You may be developing a skill of speed reading, but that time could be better used somewhere else. But if you have no idea where to start somewhere. Even if you start on the opposite side of the world, you now know where you need to go. Because you are now in the realm of the 1%, the 3%. 3% of the people on the planet know exactly where they're going. They're going to obtain what it is that they want, even though they may be on the opposite side of the spectrum. I want to go in this direction, but I'm starting here. Okay, if you're aware that you're starting here, if you know that you don't have enough money, if you know that you're broke but not poor, big difference. One's a mindset, the other one is a physical manifestation. Manifestation, I'm actually going to use physical reality rather than a manifestation, because the word manifestation has been overused, or how esoteric, or it's not substantive. It's something that's like the word or term astrology. You don't have to believe in astrology. You don't have to even think of it as an exact science. It's not really an exact science, but even though I do believe in it, but just because I believe in it doesn't make that I might be wrong on it. I might be. It's okay for me to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong. We're all ignorant about something. To blame another person to say, I know more than you, fantastic. Hope you do. I hope you know the right thing. Being ignorant about something is okay. Staying ignorant is not. Stagnation is not a good. Being stagnant is okay. It's not a moral good, but it's not evil. It's an okay place to be. But if you continue to stay stagnant, if you continue to stay broke, if you continue to stay antisocial, if you continue to stay at the level that you're at, it's not a good. It may feel uncomfortable to change, but it's not a moral thing to stay where you are. That goes with me. I am still human. I still have things that need to be developed. I'm not the epitome. What's the epitome? Epitome and epitome. Let me look that up. Epitome. I didn't even spell it correctly. Fine. Epitome. An epidemic disease. Epitome? What? That's not how I've been using it for years. I have not been using it in that term. Epidemic disease, especially. What? No, internet, you're wrong. Okay. Well, getting back to those ideas, an epidemic disease. Oh my gosh. I've been using it incorrectly for years. Because I thought the epitome was like the avatar, the state, the encompassing, just word salad, jumbling all words together. I did not know epitome was that. I was wrong. It's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to stay wrong. It's okay to continue making mistakes, but those mistakes have to be fewer and far between. I'm standing on that. It's easy to preach rather than practice. Putting something into practice is different than preaching something. And just because you practice something doesn't mean that you are able to articulate and communicate to another human being about what it is that you are practicing. Preaching and practicing, when you bring those two together, brings integrity. Integrity, someone who has integrity, even though they're evil, they can speak their evil, they have integrity. It's not good that they're doing evil things, but they have integrity with both speaking and acting in alignment with who and or what they are. I believe in capitalism, but I go towards socialism. I believe in socialism, but I practice capitalism all the time. It doesn't make any sense. And actions do speak louder than words, but words do have power over us. So where's the balance? Which one's more powerful than the other? In the momentary physical reality that we live in, I believe, again, this is the rabbit trail that I'm going down. The rabbit trail, I didn't even get to my 3 ideas. Oh my goodness, let me just move on to those 3 ideas. I might make this into like a 3-parter. I don't know why I do this. Magic. Fingers. Leftist ideology. This is part 1 of the first one. Leftist ideology versus liberal mindset. Again, standing for something versus being opposed to something. I can be opposed to leftist doctrine, but does that make me stand for conservative values? Or do I want to stand for classic liberal ideologies? Do I want to stand for libertarian ideologies? What do I stand for? I might be a libertarian conservative, a conservatarian. I might be a classic liberal who denounces the political right, but I'm just opposed to the left. Big difference. Because you're against something doesn't mean that you're for something. Being for something is very difficult, but it is well earned because it gives you the firm foundation that anything in opposition to it, anything that not just opposite but opposes, it gives you substance, it gives you value, it gives you meaning. It's wonderful. It really is. It's frightening to those who are not able to do it, but once you are there, as an example, getting in between a mother and her child. The mother is for the children, for the safety of the children, inherently, instinctually. But the moment you get in between, swipe. You never get in between a mama grizzly and her cub. It's not good for you. Her cub is, it's like, that's her bright and shining star. That is her purpose in the world. You get away with that purpose, that's not going to be good for you. Because standing for something creates that thing that you're standing for. Being in opposition for something doesn't mean you're going to create something. It just means that, well, that's a really good thing, because if you're focusing more on the thing that is in opposition, does that give credence, or is that thing that you're building? That sounds a little vague. That sounds very vague. Kind of like throwing an idea on the wall, seeing if it sticks. And I'm actually looking at a wall. There's a train. I'm going to pause it. Darn you, train. A thought that I had while the train was passing. How many times... I repeat myself a lot. I repeat myself frequently. How many times is one person to repeat themselves? Yeah. Music outside. I love it. How many times is one person to repeat themselves for someone else to make it click for them? Oh, I understand. Or is it a one-time thing? Can one person just listen to it once and shift their life for the better, versus another person has to listen to it 10, 20, 50, 100, 1,000 times before it clicks and you can move on? The interesting thing is that we are complicated creatures, but what are simplistic ways that we can apply? What are simple strategies we can act on? What are simple philosophies that we can use to make sense of the world that we live in? If we overcomplicate something, complication by itself requires a lot of resources and energy. But if you simplify it, how is the universe like an orange? Well, there's a center to it, and the further out you go, there are just multiple layers. Like with the Earth, there's a gravitational pull. So anything in the center is like the seeds, anything, and then the juice is like the is in, just kind of going off the top of my head, the juice of the fruit is inside the crusts, the containers. The containers are the physical manifestation, while the juice in of itself is what fills it. So maybe there's something in between. Maybe. I'm just throwing this out there, throwing an idea out there. Maybe there's something in between this world. Maybe I can feel the air, but is there something that's actually in between air? Is there something that is in between space, in between the moon and Earth? Is there something in between it that we can neither sense with either our sight, smell, scent? What are the five senses? Dang it! I was so fluid. Sight. I have a brain fart right now. 5 senses. Oh my goodness. I want to slap myself right now. Sight, smell. No, there's 3 S's and it's not popping up the third one. Gotcha. Sight, sound, smell, taste, touch. That's the usual order. I don't know why I went derp on that. Sight, sound, smell, taste, touch. 3 S's and 2 T's. Sight, sound, smell, taste, touch. Using our senses, however it is, if there is nothing there, physically, something that our own interpretation of the physical world that we live on, is there something that's beyond it, something that's below it, is like the spectrum of light. Maybe we can only see a few certain colors, but there's actually a huge spectrum above it and below it, or to the left and to the right. There's a huge spectrum, but we're not able to interpret it because of our physical manifestation, physical reality, the relationship between one physical unit and another. We can hear it, I can feel it, I can see it. Using this, and I can't really taste it, and this is touch. Yeah, or smell it. Those are the 3 primary modalities of our 3 top sensory modalities. Sensory modalities? I'm going to go with that. Sight, touch. Gosh, I had a dirt moment. This is a touch, sight, and hearing. Yay! Using those modalities, if we're not able to interpret, oh my gosh, I got on such a rabbit trail. Let me go back. Okay. With the leftist ideology and the liberal mindset, something that I put out probably 3 days ago and just left the note there, let it simmer. You can have any, and this is the first time I'm actually going back to it, so it might be rough. The leftist ideology is you can have any subjective identity because you do not affect the world. Society does. Not you, society. Society has more power, which is actually one of the other topics I want to talk about. It has more power, meaning that you have inconsequential power. You may want something, but society determines it for you because they have more. Versus the liberal mindset, the classic liberal mindset of individual change. That's how I see it. A very simplistic way to define and describe liberal ideology is individual change, individual growth, individual. So, liberal mindset, how at least I define it. If my ideology, actually, let me look up liberal. Define. Oh. The world, liberalism. 19th century, 20th century. He's right. Okay, not the 20th century, but the 19th century. Yeah, liberalism. Yeah, I don't like that. See, even the term liberal. I'm glad I looked it up because I actually have to change what the definition is. The 19th century version is a political ideology which advocates civil liberties and political freedom with limited government under the rule of law and generally promotes a laissez-faire economic policy. The 20th century is a political ideology which advocates the legitimate role of a government, includes addressing economic and social issues because what's good for the community is good for the individual. Yes, I know in the last one. I do agree with the 19th century, but I would like to describe the liberal idea even more simple. Individual growth. That is my liberal definition. And again, when I talk to somebody who has when a 20th century definition person talks to a 19th century definition person, if they start to communicate about liberal ideas and they start to communicate ineffectively, there's some issues over here because this person is not understanding the things that are happening in the world that this person is looking at, but looking at it from a different perspective, a different framework. A miscommunication is where most of the issues happen in this world. I want women to be in the kitchen. Oh, that means just saying it that way, you are sexist. No, I think that's very good for the child. I think the psychological, and if I have, again, let's just say I have evidence, let's assume that people are smarter than I actually give them credit for. If that is somebody wants for their wife to be in the kitchen because she is a good cook. Not women are a good cook. She is a wonderful cook. And she thinks that she wants to go other places, but she might be more fulfilled in the kitchen cooking for her family on a constant basis. Even opening up not her own bakery, but her own, to be even a personal chef for other families or for orphanages. Just to go out and spread her cooking skills. That's what she might be more fulfilled with. It may not bring in the most amount of money. She may feel the need to make money more than anybody else in the family, but that might fulfill her. We've had anybody looking from the outside in might say that's evil. Or the guy is just stupid and saying, well, my woman should be in the kitchen because Nixon. To understand what? Miscommunication. And maybe communication is something that I want to go towards. Maybe communication is something that I want to understand a little bit greater of. Not for the sake of communicating with another person. I think, like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is a phenomenal interviewer. Because let me rephrase that. Not an interviewer. He has a 2 to 3 hour conversation with somebody. And within a 2 to 3 hour conversation, you get to know somebody very greatly. Are they just repeating the same thing over and over and over, maybe like I have been doing? Or are they moving to different topics with maybe a different understanding within the conversation? Does the person stand firmly with what they believe in? Or is the person rejecting what they believe in if they were both to be definite with what they're going towards? My belief is law because of evidence. But if you have any evidence that actually contraries that, I might take into consideration with something else. Versus, my belief is law because this experience, and this experience. But what about this? Well, my experience is greater than that. Again, if we're going with personal experience, the leftist ideology, let's just go with the subjectivity of what the left is doing. Subjectivity is an important aspect. I believe, that's a key word, I believe that we are subjective creatures living in an objective world. That whatever is in here, not in your conscious mind, not what you're paying attention to, but when you even go to sleep, your mind is still processing, your body's still functioning. When you are awake, people who are more athletic, people who eat a certain way, get a different result than those who are doing the opposite. If somebody who is not working out gets a different result because of their activities, not because they worked out, but throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month and year. Because of one simple activity that they did actually has long-term ramifications. Hopefully I'm using the word ramifications. Let me look that up. Ramification define. I like my typing skill. A development of or consequence growing out of and sometimes complicating a problem, plan, or statement, the ramifications of a court decision. The act or process of branching out or dividing into branches. A subordinate part extending from a main body, a branch. So the ramification of the body branches out, if I can understand that, to associate an analogy to this definition. That's a wonderful way to simplify something. Here's the body, here's the main idea, and then whatever extends from it, that my arm is an extension of me. Well, who am I? I am, all of this I would say is me, but am I my body? Or am I something greater? Is my body a function of what's going on in my mind? Is my brain who I am? Or is it how my brain is functioning that determines who I am? In a physical, what is the word? Secular definition, I believe that might be a really good case for the moment, because that just came from the spur of the moment, top of my head. I might be wrong. Hopefully, it's not that I hopefully am wrong. Getting to this point, I'm now able to get to a greater truth. Getting to a greater truth doesn't mean that what I believe in was wrong to begin with. For us to understand, to explain it this way, what was the first... No, not that. First source of energy. This is going to be... I'm working this up as I go. First source of energy in the blood. No. History of energy use. Okay, that's what I want. Home power, utility, solar panels, inverter, meter. That's a lot of information. Coal, petroleum, natural gas. Okay, I want a history. Oh, that's a really good point. We'll go with that. Petroleum. Go something a little bit better. Dang it. No, I want to click something. Give me a little bit more time. Environmental decision making, science, technology, history. Let me just type in that. Throughout the history. Okay. Let's do it this way. Wood. Thank you, Internet. Wood. For us to understand of how to create a source of heat from wood. When we first started doing it, it was the one thing that we knew how to do. Wood was better than freezing or staying in a cave and huddling together. Huddling together is still a phenomenal thing to do. But when in comparison, doing wood to create heat rather than good luck, the other things that may have happened, wood, creating a fire was the best way to do heat at the time. Now, there's another way of doing hydroelectric, nuclear, coal, natural gas, and petroleum, and other renewable energies that I am not aware of. Whichever came next from wood, let's just say oil lamps. Oil lamps, if you had them, might have been better for indoor heating. Because smoke, maybe. Let's go with that. And if you had the availability to get oil lamps, oil heating, might that have been better than wood? Wood is not bad, but is there something that's better? A greater truth, philosophy, I believe to be that essential essence. It doesn't make things wrong, but if there's something better, do we have an obligation to go towards it? If it's not available to us, if somebody believes that I must take from others because there's a limited amount, that's where they are currently right now. But is there a better way of living? Is there a better way for us to communicate with one another? Ideas are just popping in my head, so please forgive me. Please post your comments, questions, concerns down below. I would love to read them. Somebody actually posted something wonderful. Miles, M-I-L-E-S. So thank you very much for posting that. That was pretty cool. I love compliments. Compliments are amazing. You beautiful thing, you. you the watcher. So, the watcher on the walls. Yeah. So let me go with this one again. Leftist ideology. You can have any subjective identity because you do not affect the world, society does. Change is an other responsibility. Other people are to be responsible for that. I know that I shifted. But I'm getting back to it. Leftist ideology versus the liberal mindset. I will get through this one thought. Is that the leftist ideology of you can have any subjective identity because you do not affect the world, it's okay for your truth is law. Interesting. Society has power over you. You can have any subjective feeling that you want because society is truth. Saying it that way, I didn't intend to say it that way, but saying it that way is interesting. Society is truth. Is there something greater than what society may be accustomed to? All I have to do is look at society, and if society is broke, Do I have to stay in this society, or can I go to a more rich society? Do I have to do what the society is telling me to do financially, or can I do my own thing, which actually creates the results that I want? Society may be telling me that broke people are moral and rich people are evil. But if I go over in this society, they're telling me that rich people are great and being moral, and if you're broke, it's a result of doing certain activities. So which society do I take? Well, if we're doing multiculturalism, we're supposed to respect both of them. But if we understand multiculturalism, it's to bring all cultures together and to live under one banner. That's the essence of multiculturalism. We're going to bring all these people together, and we have to live together, so we have to create our own culture. America. That's how you get it. It's funny. It's interesting. It's like, if somebody's interpretation, that might be one of the reasons. It might be having a conversation with somebody might bring into light something else. If the left, specifically the left, were to interpret America as being this place of stagnation of all white men, apparently women don't exist, but all white men, then doesn't that mean that what they are seeking out is multiculturalism, the actual creed of America? A melting pot where any culture can come in and we live under one roof. And with this one roof, we have certain laws and you can live in your own room. You do not have to come out for dinner. I am not to tell you, just pay your rent on time, live together, good luck. Oh, okay, cool. So I'm going to live in a city, just as an analogy. Okay. Liberal mindset with the left. I guess this is my left. Hopefully is that your left? If I'm looking at the screen, I haven't really taken it into consideration. So if I'm like this, that's the video, this would be your right, I'm assuming. So like this. The leftist, it's going to be kind of weird, but if I'm going to orient myself, do I orient myself to myself, or do I orient myself to you? A thought that needs to probably be done off camera, something that why the rich get richer is that they do things beyond, again, performance matters, but 90% of the work happens behind the scenes. Any planning, any preparation that needs to happen, any performance that happens, 90% of it is behind the scenes. As an example, any single person that has ever done a Broadway show. Broadway's the top of the top. But a Broadway show, you have to dance and perform consistently, effort, and it becomes habit. So when you get to the point of performance, you're done. Now, Hollywood is a little bit different, and I don't really like the way that it edits, because the difference between Jackie Chan, a kung fu comedy, love it. There was a wonderful, let me look it up. Oh, I need to see that video. Jackie Chan. Okay, there's a train, so I'll be right back. And I'm back. Jackie Chan, how to do action comedy. Again, Jackie Chan, how to do action comedy. The simple, to sum up a 9-minute video, 9 minute 4 seconds, a 9-minute video, it's simply do one thing. Any action scenes you make it, put everything in the scene in one cut. That's it. Rather than editing somebody punching, you edit the punch and then the consequences that happen thereafter. Not just, I punch you, different angle so we can film it this way. One thing that might be lost. To create a movie like that would be phenomenal. Cool. Oh, what? No. Oh, I have to look that up. Okay. And things that I want to do, things I don't necessarily have to do. Going back to that liberal mindset. The liberal mindset, we'll get to it. Liberal mindset. If my ideology affects the results of my life. Liberal mindset. How I define it. If my ideology affects the results in my life, then I have the power to both control my destiny and my results others experience. Yeah. Change is my responsibility. If I own something, there is a correlated factor of responsibility that goes with it. I believe they are not separate. They are different things, but they're not unconnected. They are not unconnected. They are connected. They're different entities, there are different activities, but you want something. There's something that has to be created. There's a certain amount of maintenance that goes to it. There's a certain amount of upkeep. If you want a certain right, there is something that goes behind it. Now, who's going to be responsible for the right that you have? If you have the right to speak, whatever, if you have the right to be gay or the right to be straight, whatever your sexuality is, just throwing that out there. If you have the right to be who it is that you are, do we have the obligation to give another person, whoever they are, the right? Now, the answer is, well, yes, whoever they are. But can that person who they are be a, sorry, trigger warning, pedophile? If somebody was to be a pedophile, and that was their truth, should we accept it? Probably not. And again, the difference between pedophilia and underaged, there is a defined line. Those who haven't hit puberty yet, that's the key. It's very inappropriate to anybody who is below I wouldn't say 18. 16 I think would be like the cutoff point. Anything below that's like, whoa, you're getting to massive. Yeah. But again, an arbitrary number if you want to get it that way. If you want to be liberal about something, when you become too liberal about something, then you start to lose your conservative base. So if you want to think differently about something, thinking differently about something is not necessarily good. What's the purpose about thinking something different? That's a better case. Being liberal to go towards something better. So what's the purpose of redefining where the line is between pedophilia and somebody who's just underaged? If you want to, why are we talking about this? I'm actually having a conflict with my head trying to like both the argument for and the argument against. Constant thing that's happening in my brain all the time, so, or is it because I am doing it myself? Maybe there's an activity in my brain that says, hey, whatever I'm trying to go towards, maybe there's an alternative viewpoint, and maybe I should argue with the viewpoint, because what I've wanted to go towards is not the correct thing. Well, then how can I get anything done if I'm always arguing with myself? Now, it's a wonderful thing. I can get to a greater truth. If that is how that I'm currently am, if that's my current truth, if that's just the only way that I can get something done, then that is what I have to do to get to the next stage, to get to the next phase of saying, hey, I want to be on top of the world. I want to have a YouTube channel of 100 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers, 10,000 subscribers. I want to be at that point where I can increase myself and increase my breadth of knowledge and just increase my scope of influence with other people. Sometimes I get pissed off with what's going on inside of me, but whose fault is that? I can blame another person, but it's on me. I have a body, I'm responsible for it. If I own my body, I'm responsible for it. If I own my headphones and I throw my headphones across the room, which I've had these for about 7 years, very, very sturdy. Brought to you by Sony. 7 years. I think I've had this for 7 years. I've had these for, 6 years. 6 to 7 years, I want to say 8. I had these for a long time, these specific ones. It's surprising I've had them for so long. They're still comfortable. They still have the padding. It's shredded, and you start to get like a lot of black leather, fake leather, latex, whatever it is, on me. If I own something, if I own this water, is this from the tap, or has it been filtered for better treatment that when I consume it, it actually helps my body? This is actually from the tap. It's what I currently have, so I will use it to the best of my ability. I will understand that from the tap is not necessarily the best thing for me, but it's what I currently have. If there is something better for me, I should. Should I go for it? Yes. But, yes. See, I said but, trying to go away from it. Our brains justify our emotions. Our emotions drive every decision that we make. Our emotions drive every decision that we make. If you make a decision whatsoever, you either had a pleasurable or unpleasurable feeling about something. A displeasurable, an uncomfortable feeling. You might have been angry about something, which might have driven you to make an action towards or against it, while another person could have been happy doing the exact same result. Our emotions drive our own individual choices. So if you are pissed off with what you are hearing, listening to, could be me at times. Could be yourself. Oh, no, I'm perfect. It could be something from the quote-unquote mainstream media, which I have not actually. I'm pissed off at the mainstream media now, because there was one thing about how Trump is this evil person, where I think, well, he's just a bastard. Actually, he's just a very inappropriate person. Yeah, and Ben Shapiro said I wouldn't leave my daughter around her, not because he would do anything to her, but I don't want her understanding that that's the attitude of a man. I think that's a better look at it. I think that's a better attitude towards it. Yeah, and again, he is he is an unchained man. Not to say he's not a very personal man when you have a conversation with him. Like he's a very wonderful person to have a conversation with. But if his actions may be unwarranted because of his influence, power, and name. So if somebody has that power, what are you supposed to do? Well, I'm going to wait until other people do it. Well, what if you had the power to obtain something? What if you had the power to control something? What power do you currently have? What, with it, by very definition, power is the ability to act. And I know that I've repeated myself over and over with the videos that I've come. See, this is where am I going with this? I had an idea of where I wanted to go. I'm going down this path. Do I upload it? Which I most likely will be. How do I get myself into a more concrete situation where I'm talking about things that are relevant to my audience? Not just myself. But I want my audience to be a certain identity. I don't want them to be people who are... I wouldn't mind people who are stagnant with their thoughts, because being stagnant, I don't necessarily care about. If they believe with, hey, personal growth, personal responsibility, you have to do this. Cool. I applaud you. A father figure, a mother figure, doesn't mean that a mother has to stay at home. Doesn't mean that the father figure has to go out. But there is a certain, to understand from my own personal experience and from what I've understood from other people who are much more knowledgeable than I, how can I accumulate the information that I have within inside of myself and wrap it in a wonderful gift, present it to my audience, say, here you go, audience. You get to now decide with what you want to do. I'm going to do the best I possibly... I'm going to do my due diligence, my duty, and give you a wonderful package that when you go... you get this wonderful magic merriment. You go... ah! So... ah! Hopefully I did that correctly. If not, whatever. Moving on. Taking away from my truth. Yeah. Again, I don't want to talk for just an hour. But again, to talk about a topic that you care about, please post your comments, questions, concerns down below. I would love to hear from them. Please tell me what you would actually want to discuss about. Because there's a lot of people that are on YouTube that say, oh, there's this transgender thing that came out. Let's talk about that for a moment. Transgender versus transsexual. Transgender is different from being transsexual. Transsexual, by its very definition, with the actual word in it, sex, your biological sex. With transgender, it's how you act within society. So, I am a Asian woman, and I'm 5'3", 5'8". I'd like to consider myself to be 5'9", but so close. I'm 5'8". I'm 5'3". I identify as 5'3". My gender is 5'3". It's however I identify as. And if any single person on the left says, no, you're not, are you judging me based off my looks? Are you telling me that if I am a certain race, creed, color, nationality, or sex, or even gender, that I have to act a certain way? And those two things are an answer of no, meaning that anyone can be anything that they want. In essence, I believe that to be true. But the belief in something doesn't make it so. In here, you can experience who that might be. I can identify who that is, but in the physical manifestation of the world that we live in, a desire is to be expressed and in time can be created. The essence of you identifying as however you want to be identified as, I believe to be a fundamental truth of this world, that it is a necessary part for you. You have one life from far as we know, and maybe only one memory as far as we know. Maybe there's more, I don't know yet. But for right now, we do currently know that you have one world, one life to live, and you can live it the way that you want. You do not have to live a life a certain way. If you have children, then do you? I'm really glad that I brought that up. You can live however the life that you want. The answer is yes. You can live the life that you want. Let me change that. Let me change that tone. You can live the life that you want. But there's also a physical reality in relating with other people, with other things. You can live the life that you want, and you also live lives with other people who want to live a certain way. Those who can't, as of right now, are children. People who are not available to get to the understanding, let me not say children, but I would say children. About 5, 6, anything above 10, that's not really a child, it's almost a teenager. Technically, a child is up until the age of responsibility. Once you become responsible for something, you are now an adult. That's my distinction. There's no teenage years. The teenage years of you trying to figure out what life is. No, you give them structure, you give them responsibility, they will form themselves into a certain person. The reason that there are teenage years, from my understanding, that, again, I went through the same thing, every single person in this today and age actually has, but the moment that you become an adult is not because of a certain age, it's responsibility. What are you responsible for? And when we get rid of, not get rid of, but to also replace. Teenage years are just whatever age that you are, but there are people who are more responsible with their life who are at the age of 16 versus those who are at the age of 82. There are people who are more responsible at the age of 60 than those who are the age of 27. I would say I consider myself to be, I'm 27. I think I'm 27, who knows. And again, looking around, what type of life am I living, and the type of relationship that I want to live in, whose fault is it? It is mine, it is not another person's. If I want to be a better father, if I want to be a better human, I have to develop myself. Look around in my environment, see, holy crap, is this the world that I live in? Well, I can believe myself to live where I currently am at as a temporary means, temporary space for me to get to where I want to get. Maybe I'm here because of the results that I've made in the past, but I don't have to be here anymore. Maybe the desire that I have, and there's a future, the future of an intangibility where the conservative mindset may not be able to expend any energy to because it is fearful, frightening, until somebody who has enough emotional experience, enough emotional intensity to get themselves drive a different mindset, to drive a different focus, get them to get that to that place. That is, again, why liberal and conservative make great units. Women have wonderful conservative mindsets and liberal mindsets in different ways, just slightly, but those slight differences mean everything. And a man is very conservative about one thing, about some things, and liberal about others. Men have one idea, we're going to do it. While women, it's like, you know what, we're going to be very conservative with the home. Just a consideration. Again, it's very stereotypical, but hey, stereotypes come from an essence of truth. That truth is what I want to highlight, not the stereotype that comes from it. But what is that truth? That's a really good understanding, so let me expand upon that. And again, things in full context, and even if somebody misspeaks, just because they misspoke, does that mean that they now need to be crumbled? In my understanding, I know that I'm diverging into another rabbit hole, but I think this rabbit hole is going to be the most important, and I'm going to end it off with this. Okay, good, it's been recording. Is that women and society, it's something that's not really wanting to be mentioned. It's something that shouldn't be mentioned with other people, but it's actually the most important part. People will push. No, you shouldn't do that. No, but a true man stands up and says, okay, and continues doing what they're doing. I'm going to achieve what it is that I want to achieve. And people don't want to be changed. That's why they're trying as an unconscious factor. You are changing, let's not change. Society is the way that it is, but if we try to change things, then got to shut them down. They're changing, they're making me feel weird. I got to stop them. It's the same thing of, no, don't make me change, don't make me change. Oh, change happened and it's okay, we're safe? I can relax. Same thing with a woman. If you want to ease your woman, you have to give them consistency and certainty. You do those two things, the little medulla oblongata. I don't know if it's the back of the throat or the back of the brain. I think it's the medulla oblongata. I'm mispronouncing it. I'm going to move on. That if you want to ease your woman, all you have to do is give them certainty and consistency. Where is the money coming in? How often? How much? That's all you have to do. And not even just now, but a year from now. To have that thing in the back of the brain and say, oh, I'm good. Women who have a very humble beginning, I would say that. But women who have, say the men. But for any single time that society or anyone says, hey, don't do that, and they're trying to smack you or teach you or beat you with their thumb, if they're trying to get you to act a certain way, if they're trying to modify your behavior, if any woman does that to a man, they're testing their man, an unconscious thing that happens beyond their own awareness at most of the time, I would say, is that a woman wants to see, are you going to stay? 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 Now, some are crazy, and again, crazy is nothing to be ashamed of, because, hey, guys are assholes. Just, again, some are assholes, and again, you can go to the divergence of either one or the other, and it's horrible on that, and balancing spectrum, just because your balance is not necessarily good. I've already said that before, moving on. For any time that a woman is pushing, well, who am I to say, because I don't have a relationship, but maybe I can have an idea that is correct even though I don't have gone through the experience. Maybe I can be aware of something without even actually having gone through it. Maybe I can be aware of how physics works without even actually having taken a physics course, because maybe there's an idea that comes into my head and the idea is actually truthful. Let's just go with that. And I'd like to believe that I am truthful with this. I'm very honest, at least. Very honest that I believe in this. Is that if there is a woman that's pushing on you, pushing back is not the correct answer, but let it bounce off of you. You can scream, you can yell, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be here for you. That is a better response than saying, well, you little, whoa, whoa. Being sturdy is the essence of being a gentleman. I'm going to stand here because I don't care what you do to me. I'm going to make myself better. I'm going to bring you with me. When it happens, when it occurs, we can live in a life in abundance. But it's a woman who's patient with that ideology of saying, okay, we're going to go into the inconsistent world, we're going to risk a lot, but I trust you, I believe in you. That is a strong woman there. That is a strong woman. But a strong man has to perform. It's not enough just to want it. You have to execute a certain way to get the result. It's not enough to want it. You have to do it, and not just do it. You have to get it. You have to obtain it. If you want to, again, that I believe is the very essence of what manhood and womanhood is. But womanhood is not subtle strength in the background. It's the ever-present one. I believe, and this is an association, we'll see where it goes. In the Jewish community, I took like 8 weeks in synagogue, and that was during the army. It was either do with that or clean at the barracks. I decided, hey, I'm going to develop faith, and I already went to church with Christians. I didn't really want to go with Catholics. I was always interested in the Jewish faith, so I just went for 8 weeks. After a while, I just stopped. I don't know if I stopped it because of commitment or whatever reason I stopped. Maybe they're getting to an idea that I didn't really care about or where I didn't even want to. Maybe I was connecting with people and I didn't want to do that. I was very much of a loner, which is a very horrible activity. One of the beliefs that I picked up on is that women are inherently more attuned with God. They are more connected with God by default. By default, men have to work their way up to get to God, which is very interesting. Rather than, meaning that, again, there's a lot of unconscious psychological aspects about that, how men have to go towards a goal while women are more connected. I don't know. I didn't say it correctly. I apologize, but the first part of that was correct. There's a train. I'm going to pause. Hopefully it went by. But the last thing that I'd like to mention from the synagogue, from the Judaism, Jewish faith, Jewish tradition, is that women are more inherently connected with God, and men have to wear the yarmulkes, from my understanding, again, I might be wrong, wear the yarmulkes to be under God, to be humble. And I think it's really cool and really interesting is that women are more attuned with their emotions. Emotions might be more connected, have more connections with who and or what they are, with being an emotional, being a reaction, not because they're stupid. That big difference. Not because they can't be wise, not because they can't be intelligent. They're just more attuned with their ability with their bodies, more attuned with emotions, more attuned with what's going on. While men might be more more intellectually focused, because I said it one way, but I meant it another way. Okay. More focused on something, it might neglect the environment. Go towards something that's good. And women, being more attuned with God, they have more connections in their body with their, why they're so, I would say, emotional, is that they're able to tap into those resources that men, it's not that they can't, but extremes, if we're going to go with that, are not at that level. Again, social creatures versus toy creatures. I don't know. Objective creatures. And objective doesn't mean... Men can be very objective because we can negate emotions. Doesn't make us smart. Just, what are you talking about? What's going on? Women are... I would say women can be more intelligent than men because now I'm getting into a topic that I have no understanding of. I have a vague idea over here, vague idea over here, vague idea over here, and I'm trying to say it's a tapestry of genius. Nope. Nope, I don't. I have no idea. I have a few vague concepts, and where those graphics of the facts, figures, and statistics are coming from, I'm not too certain of that. Maybe I'm misspeaking right now. But it was so beautiful up until this moment. I wanted to end it off in this, like, hey, motivational way. But I guess this is how life is. I'm going to speak the truth. Oh, I failed. I'm going to try again. And those who commit that regardless of how many times I fail, I'm going to get up again. That's how you learn to walk. You don't know how to learn to walk? You get them to continue doing it until they walk. You're broke? You continue to do things that help you make money until you get it. Not until you fail and then accept that, well, 1 or 2 tries can't happen ever. I tried 1,000 times. Really 1,000? Well, it was 100. Really 100? About 5 or 10. Really? Okay, about 2. Really? I tried the same thing twice. It's like, oh, because the story that we play up in our heads, I didn't create that slogan. And the story, strategy, and another S word, story, strategy, and something else by Anthony Robbins. Okay, thank you very much for joining me. My name is Smith Miller. Please post your comments, questions, and concerns down below. I'd love to read them. I do enjoy reading them. Any comments, criticism that you may have, I would like to also listen to that too. Yeah. And please like, share, subscribe this page, this video, this channel. This would help greatly my ability to extend myself to other people and then see what they would want. Get a bunch more people, what do you want? Get a bunch more people, what do you want? And then to gauge of whether or not the group is where I'm going to be going, or maybe a different group is required. Maybe I need to change the channel. Again, growth and the journey is important, but also to have a destination. If I don't know what it is exactly I want in the major future, what can I do right now? What can I do tomorrow? The next day? In an hour? What can I do right now? But the longer of a scope that you have, greater destinations you get. Okay, thank you very much for joining me. My name is Smith Miller, and you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye now.